Okay, thanks for joining us. Tonight we are playing Wolfspell by Ebediah Ravachol. I'm going to show you the wonderful physical game I have. The art is by Shell Khan. It's fantastic. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running the game. I guess I'm being Winter in this game. Wolfspell is about a band of people who, due to a curse, have been or are about to be turned into wolves, and it's about their efforts to turn the curse around and return to their previous selves through all sorts of dangers. So yeah, let's get a quick intro from our players, and then we can jump in. Usually, this is kind of a gauntlet tradition. When we do things in order, we're doing it in character keep order, left to right. So I guess Kay, if you want to give an intro to yourself and to your character if you want to, and then we'll move on.
Hi, I'm Kay. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not too familiar with the Gauntlet, kind of new to it. I mostly do TTRPG and streaming through Carrying Comfort Studios and Gehenna Gaming, but I've done one Gauntlet Con before, and I'm just trying to sort of, learn and make my way about this lovely community. Really excited to try Wolfspell. It's a little different from any game I've really played before. Not 100% sure exactly on what my character is going to be yet, but we shall see as we move forward and make up through things.
Great. Okay. And Gareth, how about you?
Sure. Hi, I'm Gareth. He, him pronouns. Been playing RPGs for a while, but I've only kind of played in the Gauntlet over this con. I've played quite a few games. So I played the game Thursday, a couple of games Friday, and so this is my fourth session. So I've really kind of dived in on this con and played a big, wide range of different games. It's been really awesome. I've had loads of fun. I don't really know kind of too much about this game. I'm just excited to try it out and learn all about it. Likewise, haven't really figured out a character yet. I'm just going to kind of do that collaboratively with everybody else, and, see what comes to mind. That's it.
Okay, great. And Mark, finally.
Hey there, I'm Mark. I use he or them pronouns, and I've been gaming for quite some time. This is my second Gauntlet Con, I think. I just got out of a game a couple hours ago, and I'm raring to go. I got Wolfspell, I think it was Kickstarted, right? However it came out, I got the album cover rules, and it's amazing. And this is the first time I've gotten to play it, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, great. It's been sitting on my shelf taunting me this past year. So finally got a chance to put it on the calendar. So yay. I guess in this game, the first thing we do, or the first thing you do, right, is choose what your character is best described by. So in the character keeper, you can see there's a couple of slots. So you're supposed to pick at least one, and it must be unique to you. And so there's 5 options in. So if you feel like you deserve or you want 2 of them, that's fine. So let's go. So I'm going to just read some out, and maybe jump on them. They're available in the drop down as well. So there's 5 options. Many have tested my sword arm and now wait to meet vengeance upon me in the afterlife. The second one is, I am witness to stranger worlds than most. The arcane and preternatural are to me as wolves and weather are to the farmer. The third is, I am at home when I sleep under the sky and hunt far from civilization. The fourth is, I am most alive in the houses, halls, and alleyways of civilization. And the last one is, no one ever truly knows where I stand and who I keep at dagger point. So unless someone wants to jump on one of those straight away, we'll go around in the same order as before. So Kay, any of those jumping out at you?
I'm speaking. In the last anyone would attest, I think the two that I like best, I'm not saying that I'm picking two, but just to go between in case someone's really attached to one, is I am a witness to stranger worlds than most. The arcane and preternatural are to me as wolves and weather to the farmer. Or I am at home when I sleep under the sky and hunt far from civilization. So unless Mark or Gareth, you're strongly into one of those, I'm happy to choose.
I was thinking about the sleeping under sky and hunt far from civilization, but if you're into that, that's cool too.
No, that's totally fine. I'll go with I am witness to stranger worlds than most.
Awesome, cool. I'll take the sleeping under the sky.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And Gareth, how about you? You've got a choice of 3 then.
Yeah, sure. I guess I've got a question first about the group. Like, do we all know each other? Like, are we friends? Or does that make sense?
Yeah, to be decided,
Okay.
right? So you can certainly be known to each other beforehand, and you'll all be a pack afterwards.
Yeah, I guess because the curse puts us all on the same side, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So and you again decide like what that curse is. So what the wolf spell that has changed you from people into wolves is, and that will kind of maybe tie you together a lot better.
Awesome. I think
than we know right now.
In that case, I think I quite like the way the others now have made me a little bit different from everyone else. So I kind of like the idea of being a little bit the opposite then. So it's like, so I guess being at home in houses, halls, alleyways, and civilization. It's quite a nice one, I think. And then the fact that he's now, or he or she is now a wild animal, and that's kind of like a fish out of water. That's quite nice. I quite like the sword arm one as well. I feel like that because you've got the kind of afterlife thing. It kind of creeps into supernatural territory. It's pretty cool too.
Yeah. So that's cool. So if you did want to pick 2, you can certainly double up. There's nothing wrong with that.
Cool. Okay, I'll do that. Now give me lots of stuff to play off. Awesome.
Cool. Okay. So, and this is kind of a little bit just about what you said. The other thing that we do right now is the other members of the pack take turns asking each other leading questions about who you were before the wolf spell, and I guess you should answer 2 questions at least. So yeah, I think it might be a good opportunity to flesh out the characters with those questions. So yeah, so why don't we go back around, and does anyone have a question for Kay about her character?
Did your arcane and preternatural stuff, did that come from? Did you learn that from someone? Did you come across it naturally?
I think it was innate and natural. I think it was something from within.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm interested by the way it says as the the wolves and weather art of the farmer. So is this like your profession? Is arcane arts something you do for a living, or is it like a sort of secret kind of other life? If you know what I mean. Or something else.
No, sorry, I'm contemplating the question. I think it's a very good question. I think it is something that I keep hidden. I think it does not jive well within the world that I regularly take space in. And perhaps is an indicator of a shameful legacy.
Okay. How about questions for Gareth's character?
who's the last person that you struck down with your sword arm, and why?
Awesome. I kind of like the idea that I'm a kind of a dishonorable or disreputable character. So I feel like maybe it was just like, maybe it's a job, like maybe it's my job to do that. Maybe I'm like an assassin or something shady like that. Or maybe not. Maybe it was more like, I am in the underworld, like involved in shady doings. But maybe it's like more like something went out of control, really. Like I didn't really mean to do it, but it's let's think. No, because I've killed a lot of people, so I think it's my job to kill people. I think that's it. So it's just like my job, but I guess it's like each person I kill, it's like taking more and more out of me, and it's haunting me, and I'm like quite a haunted person because of it, something like that. So I think, I don't know about specifics. I haven't really answered the question, I guess, but I feel like I've got something out of it anyway.
Sure.
I think so my question is, do you fight for civilization against wilderness? As you are someone who is comforted inside civilization and alleys and things like that, and
Yeah.
who has slain many a person. Do you
Yeah.
find yourself to be at direct opposition with the wild?
That'd be kind of cool as well. Yeah. I think it's more just that. I think I like live in a city. And my character's like always been in the city and just doesn't. The wilderness is almost frightening. It's like an unknown. It's almost like another world. Like it's just completely something I don't know anything about. So it's not that I'm an enemy of it, as just it's just something completely unknown to me. But it's definitely something sort of, there's some kind of fear there. You know, it's like another world. Like kind of the dark woods and the deep sort of places of the world that ironically kind of scarier to me than the dark places of the city, right?
Yeah, cool. And I guess lastly, questions for Mark's character.
Do you even have a home inside of a civilization, or are you more of like a marauder? You know, who goes and sleeps in the sky and moves from place to place. Oh, you're muted.
Boop. I don't think I do have a home in the city or anything. Probably less of a marauder and more like, I move around hunting and trapping out where other folks don't go. So I have a pretty clear hunting ground or whatever. And I come back occasionally to sell furs and smoked meat and all that. But almost immediately go back out and just sleep wherever I have to be hunting.
Awesome. Have you ever killed a wolf?
Absolutely, yeah.
Lots. It's like do that all the time.
Yeah. Not on purpose, but when I have to. I don't hunt them for meat or fur, but if they attack me or if they're dangerous, then I will. But they're usually not worth the fight.
Okay, cool. Any other questions that have occurred to you about for anyone's character after that round, or are we good to move on? Okay, you're muted.
I don't know if this will come up later, but can we like forge pre-made bonds or ideal beforehand? Is that now, or does that something that comes later?
So we can do that now if you want. There's certainly, although some of the characters live in very different circles, right? There's definitely scope for some overlap, right? So when you sell furs or whatever it is, it's probably going to be in the city, or so on. So yeah, I mean we can definitely establish some bonds in terms of just drawing lines between how the characters might have known each other before the wolf spell.
Yeah, because I was going to say one of my character background ideas, given that the image I posted had actually been that their family were used to be like fur trappers, and now they've like moved up to be fur traders and the people who like work with fur to then sell it. And so they've gone from like the lower sort of status of movement and trapping to like the more higher end merchant, things like that. And so I think that would
a
connection to Mark's character.
Sure. And is that like do you often work together, or maybe you used to before the move up was made? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think I'm open to going back and forth with Mark, whether perhaps our families have a storied line and they felt out when we moved up, or if you are simply like someone who sells to us and that's how we know you, or
yeah, I think there's probably a longer relationship. I don't know if there was a falling out or anything, but probably some sort of distance as y'all moved up. And I was like, oh well, I'm still doing my thing, so
I think
I hope to.
I think my character was born after the fact and finds what you do endlessly interesting. Like that you go out and you see these places and is sort of, and it's like, no, you stay in the city, you follow this, you work here, you move up, like you're the generation, we're going to move up even further, we're going to marry you to XYZ, and you know, that whole sort of trappings. And he's sort of like, but what if I went out and saw the lands, and I don't know, like I think that supernatural thing can maybe be involved sort of along those lines, and he knows things, and it's like, nope, we never did that. We were not involved with supernatural trappings. We're a normal, regular family.
That's awesome.
So you think Kay is your character kind of have this romantic yearning for the wilderness, or is it like?
I think it's definitely a romantic yearning. I think like this romanticized idea, like for this idea of this wilderness and the beauty out there. And I think there's definitely a connection to animals and things like that, which may have been part of how the business was so successful to move up, was that connection that allowed them to make this ease of movement and to get what they needed compared to perhaps other hunters or things like that and trappers. And it's a gift, but they don't want to talk about it because I imagine usually in these times things like that are seen as bad things or curses, or you know, a sullying, like something sullied your line. And so it's like, nope, we don't talk about that. That's not a thing. Nope. Yeah.
Awesome. So could my character have like a shady kind of business relationship with your family or something like
for
that?
Sure. Oh yes, of course. There's definitely furs that are like, well, these are technically illegal, but look how beautiful they are, and people are going to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I imagine maybe your character is the in-between fence. You know, so we bring those to you, and you make sure they get in the right hands for the right price, and the city guard are none the wiser, nor the animal conservators.
Awesome.
And do you think, Gareth, maybe there's like an extra level, right? Given that kind of, you know, you have killed a lot in your past already. Have you played a role in maybe this the fur magnate's rise to monopolization?
Yeah, totally. That could be it. Yeah, definitely. Like I've made certain people, you know, got certain people out of the way, like you know, in the whatever the power organizations are, like the guilds or whatever, like people that would oppose. I feel like like maybe your family has risen to like the sort of prominence in the guild structure in this place, and it's like where they are because I've kind of got people out of the way, and so I know where all the bodies are buried because I created them all.
Right. And I think what could be, and let me know what you think of this, because I think it could be more fun and explain why I'm hanging out with you, is their promise to you in this is to give you legitimacy by marrying you to my sister.
Wow. Okay.
Like if you're okay with like that kind of betrothal, that would then like give your character a step up in life and things like that. Is I have, you know, a couple of sisters, and they're like, you can marry one of our unimportant daughters and you'll still get like a median shape, and hey, that's a step up. You got to save the older, you know, better daughters for other things, but you can have one.
I mean, it makes sense and everything. It feels a bit like slimy, but I guess that, like, it makes my character feel really slimy. Like, I don't know how.
She wouldn't be opposed to it. If it makes you feel better, I'm sure she wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, that's cool. Like yeah. But no, yeah, not dismissing that. That's cool. Yeah.
To explain why I'm hanging out with you, because you're my future brother-in-law.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think my character necessarily knows all of the shady details.
Yeah. We probably don't. I would think we don't really kind of get on, right? Like, you kind of know. Yeah.
I question you a bit. Like, I don't entirely understand what you do or what you're involved in, because I don't know that much. And I'm just like, but wait, what?
Awesome.
But there's bonding time that's trying to be made, and that's perhaps why we're together. They're like, get to know each other. You could learn from him, and I'm like,
yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Do we think there's a connection between your character Mark and Garrett's, or are you kind of too out of each other's circles to really know?
Yeah, I don't know if we are crosses paths at all. If at all, maybe Gareth has seen me in passing or a little distantly being like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I don't do. I don't do outside.
Yeah. Like, maybe we know who each other are, but not.
Yeah.
We're not really. Yeah. I guess just because of the kind of fur trade or whatever is the only reason that we're associated at all. It's just I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's enough to get started with. Yeah, the next is the Wolfspell. So there is, just because it's a lot of text, there is a tab called the Curse, which has a few options on it. I think there's like 8 options, 8 different types of wolf spells that have befallen you. I can read out the first line just so we have kind of a pace to go through, and then we can just decide which one we want to pick, and then we can kind of answer some questions that it's going to raise. So I'll just go through them quickly. From generations lost, long last, this curse has been upon you and our kin. This very night you shall lope out as children of the Great Wolf and drive a rival clan from the Vale. Second one, the task before you is not one suited for the civilized, so you turn to unsavory magics and shift your flesh into a form more suitable. A prophecy told in our youth dictates that only fang and claw will rend our destiny, so you must be reborn as beast. Relics of an ancient cult, plundered from the old queen's tomb, carry with them a savage curse that can only be cleansed in distant holy fires. A pack with knowledge of wild wizardry and a keen interest in the singular civilized affair have possessed our bodies and left you theirs. A sorcerous tyrant of the north has molded our flesh wolfward to add to their menagerie of civilized beasts they proudly present before their court. Each one of you swallows a small fetish carved of wolf bone to shed your flesh, cross the veil, and seek there a fae-stolen child. And lastly, transformed by thunder and lightning in a storm of swift and uncanny origins, you are filled with an irresistible rage against the giant said to live beyond the mountains.
I kind of like being possessed by wolves and having them take over our human bodies.
Yeah, race 7, a pack with knowledge of wild was
That means they have some business in the city.
They have interest in a singular civilized affair, as in the shady goings on, something to do with that, right?
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, what do you think, Kate?
Honestly, they all sound really good. I'm kind of happy right away.
I was trying to work out which one made the most sense based on the kind of backstory we've made up so far.
Yeah, I mean, so good. Like the last one's really good, but I also think it is interesting the idea of like, yeah, I would say my top, if I had to pick a top three, I do like the idea that some wolf has taken our form to do the task to deal with the unsavory hunting business we've been involved in. I also think it would be fun to do the sorcerous tyrant or the transformed by thunder and lightning. I think those three at least appeal to me the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could kind of discuss what most interests us about the different options, right? And then dive into that one. I guess the kind of impression I get about the first one, the pack with knowledge of wild wizardry who have kind of swapped bodies with you, is like it really hits back on all the background that we've created so far, right?
Yeah, I guess it sounds to me like that one sounds like it would be quite an urban adventure. I don't know if that's kind of what we all, it feels to me like we were probably thinking we'd have something in a more wilderness setting, right? I don't know about everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, we could play with that around,
yeah.
right? You could maybe have to make a journey to get back to your home city or whatever. So we can.
Yeah, because I think we as wolves would still be in the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the sorcerous tyrant who wants to take you into their menagerie. What do you think jumps out at that one?
I like that one because I think it sort of could play into the connection with multiple animals and the paranormal social, as well as give some interesting ideological perspective for like both Mark's and Gareth's characters of like working with animals as opposed to against them.
Yeah.
And like tapping into that wolf in nature.
I'm being and it's like now we are being hunted like animals, which both our characters have, in a way, have hunted prey. Although my character's hunting humans, I guess.
The most dangerous prey.
The dangerous prey. Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes a lot. That sounds really cool. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But not hunting to kill, which could be interesting. And I don't know. I love Changeling the Lost, side note. So I'm a big fan of, the Fae chasing and things like that and wanting these prizes. I think that could be very interesting that they've, taken these specialized individuals for different reasons.
I think we should go with that. That's my vote.
I'm for that.
Yeah. So, wild hunt. Here we come. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So there's a bunch of questions associated with that to the right of the initial description. So it's, I mean, most of the other ones have some really in-depth, strange one, but this one is very simple. It's a why you, right? Why has the sorcerous tyrant of the north chosen you to be the wolves of their menagerie?
I think a quite simplest explanation is Gareth, your character's exploits have sort of made their way in certain circles is the fact that no one has felled your blade, so you're clearly a quote-unquote superior beast. That could be a reason. Perhaps, Mark, your character's trappings and how you deal with what you can and can't find is well known. And perhaps my character there. Also, if I'm speaking too much, let me know. Sometimes I get really excited about ideas. And my character, perhaps they know of this, preternatural, supernatural like knowledge that my character has, and want to either just have that as someone of their own, to have this special person, or to prevent my character from rising to use it, which could be in opposition to their tyrannical ways.
Yeah. Perhaps I could have killed somebody who is important to the tyrant.
Like you have to take their place.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just thinking of other things. would
Yeah, you
get
could have,
someone's attention, right? No, that's cool. It could also be your kind of what's the word, like otherworldly powers and stuff, right? That could or your prominence in the social order of things. Could be, perhaps you've got some kind of rare bloodline or something, because you said your abilities were innate. It could be like some kind of thing that's been passed down, and like that could be another reason.
Yeah, that could certainly be a reason. I like the idea that maybe that, or Mark perhaps hunted his previous wolf pack and now he needs to replace that.
Yeah,
And
I like that idea.
I've got you. You're going to replace it because you killed my wolves. You've got nice blood, I've realized. And oh, you're a vicious killer.
Yeah,
Like
I
it.
just deserve it.
Yeah.
Deserve. I don't think tyrants even think about that word. Except for what they
Just doing it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a little bit personal and a little bit, these would be the best,
Yeah.
most. I can write a mean plaque about these wolves in my menagerie.
It's a little bit opportunistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the key to lifting the wolf spell is when the whole pack has escaped or the tyrant is slain. And then you add 1 to your blood die for every other beast in the menagerie you convince to join you. So yeah, I think I like that. And this kind of goes back to maybe at the very start, we talked about the opportunity to kind of link with other animals and to kind of build a community in that menagerie.
Yeah, other animals or other people trapped as animals.
Yeah. So I now begin describing how the wolf spell befalls the pack. For your part, you may at any point during this phase ask me any question about how the transformation feels, smells, tastes, sounds, and appears. And I'm going to ask you some extra questions. So I think the sorcerous tyrant of the north. I'm kind of working on a little bit of this kind of fey line of thought. I think each of you, like if the camera is following you around at your day to day, right, and we kind of see you right before this transformation, we see you take a drink, a long draft out of some wineskin, and it's going to be very odd, right? Because on each of these wineskins, there's the same kind of sigil or same kind of marking along the lining, which of course we will see later on when we see the tyrant sorcerer. And then almost, simultaneously overnight after you've taken this drink, wherever you are, the transformation takes place. Maybe it's, I think it's going to be at in the witching hour, right? So whether you're tucked up in bed or sleeping under the stars, you kind of have this strange dream of you being a wolf. You can maybe taste blood of a fresh kill in your teeth. You can feel the wind ripple through your fur. You can smell things from miles away and know exactly what they are and which direction they're heading. But then when you wake up, you are that wolf. So there's no strange process. There's no kind of bone crunching transformation that you experience. You just wake up this wolf, and probably where you dreamed yourself to be. So either under the stars or something like in the alleyway outside your house, or something like this. You just wake up a wolf. So let me ask some questions, unless anyone has any extra questions right now for me. Okay. So just checking for characters. Okay, cool. I have characters. So, okay, for Ulrich, how does this shifting warp your consciousness?
Does it warp my consciousness? I think there was sort of this mental block that Ulrich had put up to sort of prevent himself from using this innate relation to this supernatural powers and this in touch to sort of pretend to be a regular person, and any sort of human safeguarding or mind palace protection against anything like that is just completely gone. The connection is there. It is feral. It is hungry.
Does this feel like when, for in those brief moments as a human, when you kind of dabbled with that power, does it feel like just the stopper has been taken out and like everything is at full power, or?
I think it's like a trickle. It's like the hourglass has been flipped.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's starting and it's pulling. It's like a movie suddenly starting to go into color.
Okay,
like slowly, just small bits here and there, a petal of a flower, but it's slowly filling out this whole picture.
Okay. Mark, for Zora, what is most familiar about the shifting? Is this something that she has felt before or dreamed of before?
I think the familiar part is the sort of the instinct. As I awaken as a wolf, I feel that immediate hunger and draw to. I have to find something to kill and eat, and I think that is in her more desperate moments when she is in the cold and hungry, and she's like, I need to, like, I can't be patient. I need to go get something now. I think that same pull is familiar to her. Well, it's more feral and intense.
Okay. And Gareth, for Stefan, what dread seeps into your soul during the shifting?
I think it's probably like he has this kind of dread all the time. It's been it's been getting worse, like with every person that he's killed or wronged. But it's just like that, but magnified, right? Like he just has it's just fear. It's just full on just dread, fear, and foreboding, and it's just magnified. It's like there's this unfamiliarity. He knows something is wrong, but he's kind of felt that all his life, but he doesn't know what it is. It's like something is chasing him, but he can't see it.
And is this like the wolf doesn't understand what you've done in your past, or is this like you now kind of understand that you are the hunted, or what's the kind of the new thought process?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's because he is becoming the hunted, isn't he? So it's like he is his victims. So it's like it's just this. I guess it's just that it's like the people that he's wronged, and now he is those people, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. So you're now all wolves. So you get to describe your character now. your coat, your size, your scent, and your voice. And I guess it's kind of obviously you're wolves, right? And you're not going to be actually talking to each other, but you're still going to be communicating with each other with complete clarity, right? You can describe how your wolf communicates, what they communicate, but you tell the other players like what they understand you mean, right? So you know, there's kind of a bit of show and a bit of tell, right? So yeah, can we get a brief description of your wolves now? So what does Ulrich the wolf look like?
So I've posted a picture in our lovely document. I think the wolf has sort of very light gray, almost hinted blonde, similar to the hair. But the most striking thing is these really vivid blue eyes that match that same sort of glowing, vivid blue eyes he had in life as a human. It's almost as if they were just one-to-one switched. Got a bit of a longer muzzle, but definitely on the smaller side of wolves. It looks a lot more fluffy and petable than fierce, even though there are strong teeth and claws present. Just like a much more gentler wolf than one might expect.
And I wonder, in terms of scent and voice, anything you want to call out or highlight?
I think it's almost like they smell so strongly of like the first sense of spring and dewdrops and that sort of that life and that energy that's like on the rain when it's fresh and it's complementing and starting the breath of the seasons. I think the communication it's like a warm reverberation. There's almost this strange innate calming nature to the rumble and the of their voice.
Okay, awesome. How about Stefan, Gareth?
So I was thinking the obvious thing is the coat is dark. It's sort of almost a black wolf, matching like the character being a shady character, right? It's just an obvious thing. So I think probably not like a particularly healthy coat, right? Like a bit mangy, but kind of and kind of not necessarily particularly large, probably like just average size, but kind of wiry, like fairly agile and fast. So it's kind of not powerful as such, but just almost like highly strung, right? It's kind of what I'm going for here. So yeah, I think there's that. I guess his eyes now look haunted, so it's just kind of got a bit of a faraway stare at times. So what else do I need? Scent and voice. I don't know. It's weird. Scent is not something I normally think about. Right? It's interesting. Like being a wolf, like scent is so important, but I don't know. I guess like a sour scent, if anything, and a sharp voice, like kind of a knife edge, right, or like teeth.
Cool. Yeah. And Mark, how about Zura?
I am
You're
muted.
muted.
Boom. I think she like woke up away from where I had camped, and so she kind of like starts off like under a snowdrift almost, and sort of stands off and shakes it off, and there's fairly a larger wolf with a very light gray or white coat sort of blends in with the snow, and she has not like cartoony icicles, but definitely like there's frost on her fur as she sort of like gets up and takes in her surroundings. Definitely larger than average, I think. And what is my scent? I think it's just like a strong, musky scent. Like this is like definitely someone who, like this is an animal with a sort of low, growly voice. Not that much different from her regular voice.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Okay. So I think that's a good point to take a break. I've got just 2 minutes past coming up. So how about we take a break till 10 past? Yeah, okay. So I'll see you in a few minutes. So welcome back. So yeah, everyone has transformed into a wolf. And I guess, right, what we want to do, right, is get you all into the same place. And I think maybe there's two things kind of calling to you, like some kind of supernatural or preternatural urge that your characters feel. And one is the pack, right? So you find yourself kind of drawn to each other. And the second thing, which is not very insistent right now, is like maybe a call to the sorcerer tyrant, right? So as his or as their creations, they are calling you to them. So the game tells us how to kind of get started. As wolf players, you play the game by asking Winter what's going on around you and telling everyone what your wolf is doing. Maybe that's like role playing, I guess. To get used to your new forms, your wolves would probably want to wrestle each other. So there's a move for wrestling. Try it. It may not go well at first, but your wolves will eventually get the hang of it. But soon you must turn to your dire task. Behold the world and then tell us how you venture into it. Keep to the pack whenever you can. They will provide support and step in when you most need it. When in doubt, try grooming, wrestling, hunting, or beholding the world. So grooming is just taking care of each other, right? So when the whole pack takes care of someone who's hurting, you just kind of stop hurting, right? So there's like a state of having Winter's wrath upon you. So basically, if something goes wrong, you have Winter's wrath, and the way to get rid of that is to groom each other. And that's just an automatic. If the rest of the pack grooms you, you get rid of that. And you can also like gain some feral by hanging around other wolves, but primarily you're getting rid of Winter's wrath. And then wrestling, if you look at that move, it's just communicating through play, messing around. I guess we've all seen dogs do this, right? Or if you've watched a nature documentary about wolves, you see them playing with each other. And so that's also kind of an opportunity to see how the mechanics work. So you roll those two dice and kind of see what the result is. So yeah, I think what we probably want to do first is maybe describe how your characters kind of end up in the same place. How that pack, the pull of the pack, brings you together. I think I'm going to start with. I think I'm going to start with Zura. You're out in the wilderness, and I think you tell us how you sense that your packmates are coming to you. Right?
Yeah, I think let me get here. There we go. Yeah, I think I just feel that sort of it's less of a pull in my blood and more like I feel the pull that is being exerted on someone else from the sort of direction of the city where I kind of remember going before, and I think I'm used to being fairly solitary, hunting by myself and taking care of all that. And I think it's a feeling of like, oh, I'm not alone anymore. I think there's others like me now.
Cool. And for Stefan, what does this pull feel like? What does the wilderness feel like to you as you exit this city?
Yeah, I guess it's interesting, isn't it? It's like there's a complete reversal between the city being his home and the wilderness being a frightening place, and now it's the opposite way around. The city is frightening, and it's not his world anymore. And so I think the pull is more fear. It's like trying to get away from the city and get to the safety of the wilderness, which is deeply confusing, obviously, but sort of at some level he's just drawn to do that. But I think after the initial kind of fear, I think the kind of sense of belonging of being a part of a pack kind of does reassure him a little, and so he just feels this need to meet with the pack, and everything will be okay, so it's so it's fear and then a kind of hope kind of pulling him on.
Okay, cool. And for Ulrich, I guess maybe the same question for you. How does this pull to the pack feel for you? And I guess if you want to add some extra details on how that that sand timer, that hourglass of magic feels a little bit different when you get into the wilderness.
Yeah, I think it feels stronger. It's almost as if the current of the wind and this that rushes through the leaves is also rushing through the grains of that sand and is just pulling it further down faster. And this packet feels more natural than anything else. Sometimes it always just felt like clothes, just no matter how soft or fine, itched. Nothing here itches. It feels natural. The pad of paws against dirt or snow of the landscape, the dewdrops. It hums with a harmony that Ulrich has always felt he couldn't touch, but is just it's wonderful. It's feels as it should be.
So do the other wolves maybe see like a pep in the step or whatever the wolfy equivalent is?
Yeah, I think there's
when Ulrich pads into the clearing where they are.
There's a pep in the step, and there's this tongue lolling out, and this immediate, like almost like tumble, but it's sort of purposeful in this, like like how dogs will like lean down and just like rub their face and their nose sometimes just into the like floor for some reason. He's doing that. And it's almost sort of like a sort of scented based thing, and as he's lulling and rolling onto his back and just having like TM time of life. This is great.
I have no idea why my dog does that, but answers in the comments, please.
Yeah, no, literally, my dog does that on tile, and I'm like, what are you doing with your life?
Mostly the day after bath day, I think. But okay, cool, awesome. So I think, if you want to, I think it's a wolf getting to know you through wrestling seems like a great thing to get started and to jump into the communication.
Yeah, I think
exactly.
I think I get like kind of like there's some recognition, but not exactly sure what yet. And there's this other wolf that is clearly there's some bond. And I think let's do the wrestle. That
yeah.
So yeah, when you're wrestling, I guess everyone is going to roll the dice one by one and then kind of heed the results. So I don't know. Do you want to start, Mark? For
yeah, sure. Yeah. I start off with 2 feral, so my wolf die is always I add 2 to my wolf die before doing the summation. So let's see what we get. That's a 6, which is an 8 minus 3, which is a 5.
Okay, cool. So for wrestling, you get wolf 3, right? So that is describe your play with the other wolves and gain 1 feral.
Oh, it's a 5 actually, because I have.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 2 feral already.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started off a little wolfy.
Yeah. Very wolfy. So yeah, you just describe your joyous play with the other wolves. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think she's like kind of like she started off in like hunting mode already, but sort of seeing the like okay, we can like sort of have this physical tumbling around without someone being in danger or trying to hunt someone. And I think as we sort of like roll around a little bit, she becomes less like focused and more like playful. Like recognize like, oh yeah, you're okay. We're in the same gang now. Okay, yeah, I got it. Cool. We can trust each other.
So like when she was a human, it was like Zura, like very low, like a loner and like a stoic, or laconic, right? But now that she's with her pack, it's a different side.
Yeah, I think not because like she was like dour or anything. It's just she spent a lot of time out in the woods and wasn't used to talking to people most of the time. So when she went to trade, it was just like trying to remember how to person a little bit, and now she is remembering how to wolf. And it's going well.
Okay, cool. Gareth, do you want to roll for Stefan? The rules on your blood bonus are a little bit different. So with feral it's automatic, but for blood you get to choose right after you roll whether you want to add the bonus or not.
Cool. So it's 1 blood because I got 2 blood and 1 wolf. Is that right?
Yeah, and then you have the option of, if you wanted to, you could add I think your bonus of 3.
Well, it says when you must know the minds of people, even your own civilized mind, or when performing tasks of gore or hatred. So I think I can't kind of indiscriminately add it. I think it has to be in those parameters.
Evident, yeah, right now. So, but 1 is I guess as low as you can get. So blood 1 is describe how you are unable to negotiate the play and feel isolated. Choose 2 from the list below. So there's a list of 3 there. You are not separated from the group. You do not suffer winter's wrath, and you do not lose 1 feral, minimum 0. So you get to choose 2 of those. So the third thing will happen, basically.
So I have to choose which one applies. It's kind of the double negatives confusing me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit confusing the first time you see that.
Yeah, like structure. It's totally used to be. Okay. So maybe I've separated from the group.
Yeah,
so that's the most interesting.
Yeah, I guess what you can do maybe is describe how you're unable to play and feel isolated, and then kind of as you do that, it might make sense which of those 3 you're not choosing, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably just that he's because I've got like a lot in blood, and I feel like he's in some ways the most like human, the least wolf somehow, and so it just doesn't. Still struggling with that transition that is not a human anymore, and I think also with the idea that this play is safe, it's not like dangerous or violent, because he's like and lived in a kind of world of violence, and so that I think leads to him just having this fear like reasserts itself. So I think perhaps he perhaps keeps his distance, sort of is unable to engage, and kind of flees away a little, hangs back, and then is torn like the pull of the pack that's confused, doesn't know, right? Is like isolated for a while, like in that moment of the indecision.
So yeah, that separation makes perfect sense. How about Ulrich? Do you wanna?
Okay. So sorry, I've never used this roller with before. So what do I do? Do I just
Yeah,
click on them?
so you click on one die and then the second one, and then at the bottom there's a like a refresh
Oh, okay.
button
Yeah.
that you can click, and then it'll just re-roll both of them.
Okay. So it looks like, and I don't think I have any bonuses. It looks like from what I have, that would make sense here.
Yeah, I don't think you're facing the supernatural. So
Yeah. So I got a 3 on the wolf die and a 1 on the blood die. So it's a 2 on the wolf die.
exactly, yeah. So to wolf, you describe your play with the other wolves and gain 1 feral. So I guess you're kind of growing into your wolfiness.
Yeah, I think
Wolfiness.
it's wolfiness. I think it's very playful. And it's almost got this young pup dynamic. Like there are probably a moment or two where he bites a little too hard, not realizing as he's sort of navigating the play, and Zura has to like cuff him or like or something, or Stefan or something like that. Like one of them has to just be like, whoa, 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 you're playing, and I get that you're playing, but you need to calm down for a moment. You're kicking it a little too far, as he sort of moves about and flails with this body, and even though it feels at home, it's still a new body to learn, as natural as it feels, especially as he feels all these tingles as the magic slowly, innately sort of messes within and becomes more active and available.
Great, yeah. So Gareth, for Stefan, I think when you get separated from the pack, right, you're maybe feeling overwhelmed or frightened by this whole experience, and when you get a little bit out and you're kind of alone, I think then maybe this is the first time that you feel the tug from the sorcerer tyrant, right? You feel this other,
Yeah, for sure.
strange presence off in the distance that is, directing its attention at you, and not in a not in any kind of a way you'd suspect is nice. It's obviously kind of malicious or covetous towards you. How does that make you feel, and what do you do?
I think it makes the most sense to Stefan of all of the things that he's experiencing at the moment. That kind of malicious or covetousness it's something that speaks to his human nature and is the only thing he really understands at the moment. And so I think it actually is almost like reassuring somehow to him. And that's kind of the draw of it.
So like it promises him some kind of order, which is in some way familiar, even if it's not to Stefan's best interest.
Yeah, it's like something that at least he can understand, that he can make sense of, that he can deal with that. He's used to dealing with that kind of stuff in his everyday life, right? So it's like it's like the sort of enemy that you know rather than the one you don't, or the devil you know. Yeah.
Okay. So like, do you do anything? Do you kind of move towards that, or try to figure out what's going on with it, or what do you do?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like he probably thinks that he can use it to his advantage. He's used to like people trying to exploit him and he being the one who exploits them, right? Like that's kind of business as usual. So I think he would want to learn more, to understand what this is, because he feels like it presents an opportunity to him somehow.
Okay, yeah. So that to me sounds like beholding the world, right? You were trying to assess the situation and figure out what's going on. So Yeah. So it says, when the pack pauses to attend to the scents, sights, and sounds, Winter should describe the world around you in loving detail, taking care to impress upon you an appropriate sense of safety or danger. You may then individually decide if you wish to roll. So, what? I guess you're still connected. So I wonder what happens. Might be that, you know, when Stefan kind of opens his senses to this force, the rest of the pack kind of maybe suspend his play because maybe they've noticed that he is gone and kind of also try to tune into whatever he is fixating on, right? So, you know, maybe the camera shot is, you know, we see Stefan's kind of head, ears, like aligned towards the sorcerer tyrant, and then we kind of see the other members of the pack kind of angle their heads and ears towards the same direction, even though they're a mile apart or whatever it is. So yeah, you don't have to all roll, but you can if you wish. So this is there's a lot of questions on these, but we roll and then you kind of ask questions from the list, right? I think details that I want to add before the roll, yeah, that sense of malice, right, of desire from the tyrant are kind of obvious to you all. But I think also you might get a sense that something else is out there. I think this is the first time you get a sense of those other animals in the menagerie. Okay. So do you want to roll, Gareth, or
Sure.
I guess other people can join in also.
So I rolled 0.
Okay, so so the what I wonder is, so one of your prompts, right, for your description is when you must know the minds of people, even your own civilized mind, you can add 3 to your blood die after.
Oh, totally, yeah. I forgot about
this. I think this should apply to the sorcerer king.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorcerer tyrant. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's going to be 3 blood then.
Yeah. So just to, like, when you get a tie, the system in Swords Art Master, which this is kind of based on a little bit, has a stymie on a tie, but in this system, you just choose 1 wolf or 1 blood. You kind of choose which side the tie comes down in instead. So what do we say? 3 blood, right? Choose one of the questions from the blood list that Winter must answer. So you can see on the move sheet near the bottom of Behold the World, there's a list of questions. What should I be afraid of? Who is vulnerable? What do they want from me? Where am I most advantaged? Who is in control? And what is most valuable?
So I've kind of torn between what do they want from me and what is most valuable, because I think what do they want from me is what I kind of originally in the narrative kind of established. I was thinking, but also what's valuable would appeal also. But I think what do they want from me? We'll go with that because I feel like narratively that's what I was going for before.
Yeah. So I think, and maybe this is, you know, some kind of sense that Stefan gets from how he approaches this, is that, you know, the surface impression that he gets is really just a lie. You know, it's maybe a comforting lie that he might tell himself, or a comforting lie that the tyrant might tell you, but it's for the tyrant to possess you, and to have you as their prize. And so I mean, sure, there are parallels, right, between how Stefan has a relationship with his sponsor or whoever he does work for, right? You exist to exalt them, but that is you will be a possession, and maybe a tool, but yeah, that is I guess a good answer to your question. But you can. Do you want me to clarify anything, or maybe you get a sense of that from some of the other animals who are out in the wilderness, right? That they are in exactly the same position that you will be if the tyrant gets their way.
Yeah, cool. I think that's fine because our characters don't know what's going on at all at the moment, so that's kind of like establishing for our characters what we as players kind of already know.
Yeah, sure.
I think I'd like to roll also, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I got 2 6s, but I imagine this is certainly magical.
Yeah, so you're reaching out to this kind of thread of control or of pull that the tyrant sorcerer is aiming at you. So I think for sure you're facing the supernatural.
Yes. So that's an additional +3 on the die. So I think because feral is wolf, right? Or is that different?
Yeah, feral is wolf and blood is human, basically.
Okay, so I have a +1 to feral. So that's a 7 and a 9, so it's a 2 blood.
Okay, so that is essentially the same result. So you get to choose one question from that list.
Okay. So I think, since I don't want to ask the same question twice, despite that being sort of apropos, I'm going to go with what should I be afraid of?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? If you ask the same question again, I would have to give you a different answer, right? Otherwise, what would be the point? So if you want to, that's fine. But you can stick with what should I be afraid of if you prefer.
I mean, I do think what do they want from me would be interesting, but I don't want to force you to, if you don't think you can do, like, if you can't make it more like if it's too difficult to make it more individualized, so it's not just repeating, like I don't want to make you have to do that.
I mean, what should I be afraid of? So I think there's 2 things maybe that Ulrich should be afraid of. One is that these other animals that we have kind of previously established are out there with Stefan's answer. They are hunting you down right now. So their task is to hunt you and return you to the tyrant sorcerer. And then I think the second one, right, is that I think the tyrant, as well as having you as their possession, I think they probably want to take your power, right? They're hungry to gain whatever innate magical power or sorcerous power that Ulrich has. And right now, right, their power in that realm is much more powerful than Ulrich's. So, a magical confrontation would definitely not be advantageous right now.
Yeah, I think Ulrich's sort of ears flatten against his head as this sort of recognition flits between his eyes, and he sort of gets close to Zura's side and almost sort of presses adjacent to one another, like fur to fur, and there's a small quake there.
I'm also going to go for the hold the wolf then.
Yeah, because there's a whole other list of wolfy questions,
Yeah.
right?
hopefully we'll get one of those. That is an 8 wolf and 2 blood. So
That
that
is
is 6 wolf.
off the charts. Yeah. So you get 3 questions
Oh wow.
from the wolf list. And I must answer unambiguously.
All right.
I guess I wasn't thinking about the previous answers being ambiguous, but yeah, I've got to give you the clear truth on these ones.
So I guess first, what does my nose tell me?
Yeah, so depending on the wind and weather, a wolf can detect and locate scents from over a mile away. If it has a scent, the wolf can identify and knows where it is. The sense of familiar beasts will reveal their emotional and physical states of the wolf. So now I'm thinking menagerie, right? So I think one of these animals that's out there is like a is like a heron, you know, like a giant bird, maybe right now picking its way through the snowdrifts, but any moment now kind of going to bring itself up aloft. And I think you can smell maybe the fish that it's been taking out of a nearby stream. And I think when you start to raise your senses on the tyrant, it starts to get some steerage towards you. And I think there's more sense out there, other animals in the menagerie, but this one is the closest.
What do my ears tell me?
So you can hear much higher frequencies than we can. Depending on the conditions, can detect sound as far as 10 miles away. If it makes a noise, the wolf knows where it is. So I think there's going to be I think can we go with like a woolly mammoth or something?
Yeah.
I think I mean, they're going to be smellier than heron, but I think it's your ears that really detect this one.
Maybe they're further away. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when they're put on mission against you, right, you hear this kind of strange trumpeting from miles and miles away, and maybe you kind of get it. You can hear or maybe feel it moving through the trees, kind of brushing towards them and like pushing through them, and like they are all quivering, shaking the snow off their boughs as it moves through the woods towards you.
I guess what do my instincts tell me?
Sorry, can you say that again?
What do my instincts tell me?
Oh, the true instincts of a wolf will know what is a threat to be avoided, what is vulnerable prey, and who can be cajoled into wrestling. And if Winter agrees that you're acting on this knowledge, you may add 1 to your file. I think that the threat, while it poses no kind of physical threat to you, its kind of role as a scout of the heron is gonna really bring down a lot of trouble on you. And so, hiding or taking a very careful route is kind of what your instincts tell you to do. And then also, I think you have a really good idea of where the heron is and a really good idea of where the mammoth is, and so like you can maybe instinctively imagine that beyond that is where the sorcerer tyrant is going to be.
Triangulate.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of instinctual trigonometry maybe.
Yeah. I think with that, I'm gonna let out a howl to let Stefan and Alec, who's like me, know that danger is on the way, and we should probably either hide or head the other way.
Okay.
Does that count as acting on?
Yeah. So I mean, howling is a straightforward move. A wolf's howl may be an expression of affection, loss, or excitement. One wolf howling is likely to cause any wolf who can hear it to howl as well. Thus, howling can also reveal the location and size of nearby packs. Any wolf with a feral of 1 or more must roll a blood result to resist joining in a howl. When you howl, you must tell your fellow players what you were saying. So yeah, what does Zura, call out to Stefan?
I think it's like, come back here. We need to get out of the area. There's something big is coming.
And do you think Ulrich joins in?
I think Ulrich does join in, and I think their message is more tinged with, you do belong, and your place is here with us. Safety is here with us. There is danger to the pack approaching. The pack united is strong.
Okay, great. And does Stefan respond, or what? How does he react to this? You're muted.
I don't think he responds, but I think he does. I think he does return to the pack. I think his wolf kind of nature wants to return to the pack, and his human reason is telling him that there's safety in numbers. So it's all aligned now, and so he will rejoin the pack. But I don't think he howls. I think he's still not got that far into the wolf side of things. And I think he doesn't need to check, does he? Because he doesn't have
No, he
any
doesn't.
feral,
His feral
so it
isn't.
just doesn't.
So like it affects him, but he doesn't feel this kind of instinctual urge to join in. Right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think. And let me know what you think. I think there's I think for the game, right? Maybe we say there's no other wolf packs out there. Like the reason that the sorcerer wants a wolf pack, and you're it, and I think you're the kind of
Right.
the wolves who are around. Okay, so yeah, I think so. You kind of have an idea of what's out there, and what do you think the plan that you're discussing is going to be?
If there's any shelter nearby that we can kind of hunker down in, probably find that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
sort of
think-
terrain is it where we are? Like, are we? Because I'm thinking it's safe. Going to be safer under cover of trees and in the open, etc. So maybe that would come into it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've described like a stream that the heron was in, and kind of a woodland that the mammoth was moving through. So maybe we imagine that it's kind of rolling hills with a little bit of forest. So kind of relatively broken, not terrible terrain to move through, but nothing, wide open spaces. At least not in this neck of the woods. Maybe there's something beyond, right? That's much more perilous to cross. Yeah, what do you think? Is this like bedding down to hide seems to me like kind of quite a human reaction to danger, and not just running for it, which seems kind of a wolfy response to fight or flight. just hunkering down and taking cover seems quite human to me.
It does.
Yeah. So so when the pack wishes to sate a hunger, seize what they desire, or accomplish something unnatural for a wolf, have the wolf with the highest feral roll. So yeah, there's you're sating a hunger or bending the world to your will. It's basically the same move, with the same mechanics at least.
That is definitely me.
Yeah. So
let's see what we get. 7 wolf, 3 blood. So that's a 4 wolf.
Okay. So you choose 3 from the wolf list. There's 4 options here. So tell us how the pack gets what they seek or sates a hunger. No one else must go without. None are put in peril. Or tell us how you embrace your wild nature and either lose Winter's Wrath or gain 1 feral.
Okay. I think we find what we seek in that there's kind of rocky outcropping. It's not necessarily like a cave, but like a rocky overhangs with some safe area underneath there in the hills that we were able to sort of find and shelter under and sort of like watch the skies and see if it's feels like a fairly safe, protected spot, and there's room enough for everyone. I think no one is put in peril because of that, and I think I embrace my work. Maybe there's like it's not completely clear, and I have to sort of dig into it and use my snout to like push it away and sort of dig a little bit to clear out some space for this. That pops my feral up one more.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so I think you're kind of safe under that cover, and you probably get a sense of that heron flying overhead, right? But not, it's got a long beak and an eye is sort of searching for its prey, but flying overhead and maybe going into some kind of a circle route, but not overhead, so it certainly doesn't know where you are. Okay, I'm just looking at the time. We've got 1 minute to the hour. Want to take a break till 5 past, or does anyone want to push till 10 past?
That's fine for me.
Okay, we say 5 past. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Sorry, I should have let you start recording.
No worries.
But yeah, once Garrett's back, I think once we're in this, as Zura is like setting up this safe haven, I think Ulrich is immediately grooming Stefan and sort of scent marking and being very like welcoming like back into the pack and making sure you're okay and just sort of very fervently and warmly inviting you, trying to be close. And also, but you could tell there's this tinge of underlying fear. It's certainly not of you, but it's also perhaps part of what is feeding this desire to be close to pack. Interesting.
Yeah,
for once,
so
you instill fear. You inspire safety.
So Gareth, a question for you, right? So mechanically, right, when you groom with another wolf who has more feral than you, you may choose to gain 1 feral. So I guess that's kind of, are you more accepting of the wolfy part of you than previously?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's embrace the wolf, definitely. I think this will definitely help. So yeah. So I take 1 feral, is that right?
Yeah.
Mechanically.
So like how do you respond to Ulrich and I guess to the pack in general, kind of welcoming you into this safe haven?
I think at first it's more passive. It's just kind of staying calm and kind of letting it happen, right? Accepting it, and just that itself is kind of has opened the door to the feral side a little. That's just so it's just inches at the moment, right? It's just a slight creep away from human.
Okay, cool. Anything else you wanted to add from Ulrich's point of view on that?
Yeah, I think Ulrich almost pushes for a little more. I think they try and nuzzle under your muzzle to try and get Stefan to reciprocate in these pack moments, and you know, in a softer and safer way than perhaps maybe wrestling, which scared them.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I took the one in feral, so I think that I'd probably say that Stefan does reciprocate.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so I think, I mean, you know, maybe it takes a while before this heron flies off to kind of reacquire your signals, as it were. So maybe it's an hour, or maybe it's more before you're safe to exit again and go off on your quest. In terms of like knowing when it's safe, I wonder like who is the first one to kind of poke their nose out and to decide that you're okay to leave.
That might be me. Sort of, yeah, stick my head out and sort of like kind of protective of the rest of the pack, just to see if there's anything else out there.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you kind of know what to listen out to. I think you get a good sense that I'm not sure what the land speed of a mammoth is over rough ground, but it's closer now, right? I think you can hear it a little bit more loudly, and maybe you get some scent off it too. You know, this. I mean, I want to say really, really smelly, right? It's big and it's, you know, never been groomed by another mammoth, right? So it's hanging on to a lot of that scent. Maybe it's even a little bit overpowering to your sensitive nose.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is in the interest of keeping the pack safe, if it's safer to stay under shelter or to move out. What do y'all think?
I think Stefan would rather be in the driving seat, like would rather hunt rather than be hunted somehow. Like I think the inactivity would get to him.
How about Ulrich? How does he respond to that
I think
question?
Ulrich pads out a little more cautiously, but very much feeling the ground they step on and feeling innately connected to it. I think as this magic sort of seeps into the bones there of this new body, and it allows him to get in touch there. And I think it sort of maybe heightens his senses and his connection to nature. And I think he wants to sort of bend the world to his will in an attempt to make a way for his pack to move and find their prey.
So, so there's a couple of things we could do. Like I guess we could go straight to Ulrich's kind of, I don't know, magical senses or bend the world to his will. or we could do something a little bit more kind of standoffish to behold the world, to see what's going on and kind of what your best way forward is. I don't know how you feel.
I think it's almost, at least currently in the start, it's an innate reaction. I think it's the magic responding to what he wants. It's not necessarily as observant yet or as coalesced with thought to have that forethought of what is going on around me. It's more like, this is what I need, and therefore nature shall react.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think before we roll that, because that definitely, I mean, it's both stating your need, but also bending the world to your will in this kind of magical way. Like, exactly what are you? Maybe describe how this kind of magic takes form, and then like exactly maybe what the others see.
I think there's a further brightness to those innately bright blue eyes, and it sort of shines and glimmers. And I think as you taste the air, there's this effervescent buzz there, and his paw pads, they almost press into the ground, and sort of green tendrils of life and nature, like actual little fern plants, sort of grow and sort of unleash and sort of vibrate and hum against that same bubbling effervescence.
Cool. So do you wanna roll?
Yeah.
And let's see.
This is certainly magical. So I think that's the same score I got. No, this is a 6 and a 9, so it's a 3 blood.
Yeah, okay. So that is either 2 from the blood list or 1 from the wolf list. So
I think I'm going to take 2 from the blood list. I think the environment, sort of like those green little tendrils, sort of shoot out and grow along the forest floor, almost starting to snake a path towards where our prey is, guiding us in that direction and offering a path. And I think I ask Winter if I have the advantage.
Okay. So the options that you're not choosing are no one is put in peril. So someone is going to be put in peril. You will gain Winter's Wrath. And you may lose 1 feral, but that's a may, so you don't have to do it. So I think gaining Winter's Wrath might mean that the kind of magic is still fresh and kind of maybe tires you, right? If that makes the most sense. So ask Winter if you have the advantage. If so, tell us how you use it to get what you desire. You know, I think maybe you do have the advantage. I think maybe these green shoots, these kind of I don't know, are they like ivy that's kind of crawling up the trees, or are they kind of more like a big explosion of clover that's just making a path for you?
I think it is a winding ivy, but it is making a path.
Okay.
It's making a path that is not too disruptive of nature. It's almost like it's harmonizing with it. It's a little tricky and a little lost and still fumbling and starting, but it's starting to harmonize with nature.
Yeah. So so I think, I mean, I don't tell you what the advantage is necessarily, right? You tell us how you use it to get what you desire, so you can kind of fill in exactly how it helps you.
Yeah, I think it helps me in the sense that it's going to directly lead us to our quarry. Granted, if that's a good thing or not, we'll find out.
Sure.
But it is going to give us our quarry.
Okay, awesome. So I think so you're suffering from Winter's Wrath, so I think, like I said, you're just a little bit vulnerable, right? Your magical power is kind of exhausted.
Right.
There's like this big, surprising exertion. So, but yeah, some pearl is going to jump out at you. So I think, right, this is like almost like a curtain of greenery in the forest, right, of ivy, snaking its way from you kind of directly miles out to where the sorcerer is. And they certainly know exactly what this means. They see it coming at them, and the mammoth, I think you hear it, trumpet again, and kind of pick up speed. And I think when it picks up speed towards you, or at least towards the line of ivy to work its way back to you, you can kind of feel the juddering impact of its hooves on the earth, right? It's unmistakably dangerous, right? And I think it's going to be upon you, before you realize it, surprisingly fast, and not needing to take any kind of detour around anything. It's just like juggernaut straight through it to end up beside you. So yeah, there's this dangerous creature running towards you. What are you going to do?
I think at this point I would definitely sort of put myself in between that and the rest of the pack, just sort of like brace and bristle, just sort of like waiting for it to come out.
Okay. So I guess you're facing the perilous, right? It seems to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
I mean, if you're bending the world to your will, I guess you are.
Nah, I think this is facing perilous,
okay,
for sure.
Okay. So in the midst of danger, the pack should decide which amongst them is the most vulnerable. That wolf, or any wolf willing and able to confront the peril in their stead, must roll. So that seems like Zura to me.
Oak's probably most vulnerable.
Well, you get the bonus, right? Winter may make any and all wolves currently suffering Winter's Wrath roll as well.
Mm.
So I think what's happening here is that the mammoth is seeking out Ulrich himself, and Zura is in the way. So yeah, I think you're both in danger here. So when your wolf's life and limb are at risk, roll and heed the following result. So who wants to roll first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
6 and a 1 with my +4 is a 1 blood.
Wow.
Sometimes maybe it is good to lower that foul score. Wow. So
go or wait for.
Yeah. So let's maybe not let's resolve it, but let's see what the options are, and then maybe we can work in the results together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I suffer harm and push on heedless of the danger.
Yeah. So check one of those boxes for harm, and tell us. Yeah, maybe let's switch to UK and let's do your roll next. Then we can work in, how Zura pushes on into that result.
Would we call this supernatural or?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just a creature, albeit under the control of the sorcerer, but I don't quite think
That's
that
totally
it
fine.
fits.
That is a 2 on the wolf die.
Okay, so a 2 on the wolf die is choose one. You suffer harm and tell us how you retreat to safety. Ask Winter how the peril persists, or if no other result says the peril persists, you may tell us how you sacrifice yourself for the good of the pack. But I think Zora's result has the peril persisting, so you cannot choose that one.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, yeah, I guess I suffer harm.
So yeah, I think so. Let's work in this fictional outcome. So Ulrich is retreating to safety, and Zora is putting themselves in pushing on, heedless of the danger.
Yeah. I think as it like charges out, it just gores me with one of the tusks, leaving like huge nasty scar down my side, sort of blood seeping out in contrast with the white fur. And although like it's kind of like it throws me aside, and I immediately kind of fall on my back and scramble around and leap back towards it and try and like get at a leg or a tusk or something that is not or a trunk, like something that's not tusk, basically. But I'm hurt and very just enraged now, and so I took the just my wolf is permanently marred, and I'm gaining 2 feral, so I'm up to 6 feral.
Okay.
I'm just a wolf. I'm more wolfy than regular wolves.
So
Yeah.
Ulrich, how do you retreat to safety, and then what is the?
So I think in this moment, I think Ulrich has this utmost trust in Zura, and of course Zura has them, and they're just behind Zura, not at all expecting this tusk that then sort of hits Zora in the side, and then just the point of it sort of scratches at the edge near Ulrich's eye, just creating a sort of mar and scar up there as they whimper and tuck tail and lose some feral because, oh shit, this isn't all beautiful nature and puppy licks. This is actually kind of scary. And they sort of run back forth right into that sort of den nest from before and sort of lie flat on their belly, tail tucked, quite scared.
Okay, awesome. And Stefan, what are you doing in this kind of carnage that has ensued?
So I think Stefan's instinct would be to kind of separate from the others, to use stealth of some kind, to try to not be seen and to circle round, to kind of attack from an unexpected direction. So I don't know kind of mechanically what that's going to trigger, but I feel like he would try to kind of sneak round. So he's witnessing this happen. Perhaps he's round the side of the mammoth or something. And so I think perhaps to try to run in to surprise the mammoth, to bite it in the back legs or something, or try to distract it and get it away from the rest of the pack, to kind of do what little he can in this situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether Stefan is a good enough person to do that or not. So I'm interested to find out what happens. But that's what, the best version of Stefan, that's what he would do.
So maybe this is a probing or a leading question, right? Like, how does this havoc that this mammoth has wreaked, like, how does it make him feel about this mammoth or the sorcerer?
Yeah. I guess it's like it's impressed by the power of the sorcerer, right? Like, it's like what he's done in life is kind of allied himself with the strongest power that he can. He's got the strongest ally that he can, and so I guess in that respect, it's like he's impressed by the sorcerer. The sorcerer seems like the strong ally at the time, right?
So I think in terms of the pearl that continues, right? Your Zura is like hanging on to a tail or a knee or something like that, right? Being dragged around by this
Yeah.
mammoth, and um, yeah, I think Ulrich is kind of maybe well away. Like if they weren't well away from the mammoth, I think the mammoth would be kind of probably prone to like topple this kind of riverbank or whatever the kind of cave you have, but the mammoth is too far away for that. So I think Ulrich is kind of fled to safety. And I think maybe I guess like any kind of self-respecting war elephant, this mammoth is kind of not really paying attention. It's kind of enraged now. It's just kind of rampaging. So I think the idea for Stefan to kind of sneak up behind it and maybe leap on it in some kind of unsuspecting angle is will definitely work. Right?
Yeah, I feel like it's more not whether it will work, it's whether he will actually do it or not.
Yeah. So yeah, and so I guess is the kind of inclination, the kind of deep kind of human life inclination is to kind of go with strength, right?
Yeah.
But the
But the wolf
wolfiness is
go
surely
with
kind of
protect the pack.
Yeah. So do you think this is like which hunger is stronger, right? Is this kind of serve or pack instincts inside Stefan stronger?
Yeah. So I think because I have one feral now, right? So it's a 0, so I can choose.
Yeah.
So it's like I've tried to turn it over to the mechanics to
Yeah,
decide
and
for me, and the
the dice are
mechanics have
saying,
gone.
no, it's on you.
No, you have to decide.
Although
is that true? I don't know.
although now that I think of it, you're trying to figure out, like, are you trying to figure out your own civilized mind, or is that you're just trying to see where instinct is going to take you, and the dice have said, no, it's on you, Garth?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can see that he's pulled in these two directions. There's this duality, and I just wanted something to flip a coin for me or tell me, right? And it's just like it's not worked.
Nope.
So I feel like I can't. I can't. So okay, so I think he is going to. If I can choose, I think I don't know what the move's telling me I'm supposed to do, but I feel like he's gonna go with the pack. So
Okay, cool.
in a bit of a tie, he goes with the pack.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know what we're supposed to do with the move. So yeah.
Well, like actually, it is in the rules. I just haven't like introduced it. You can at any time, if you feel this kind of conflict, right, you can just roll the dice, and the dice will tell you whether the human or the wolfy sides are gonna drag you. So you discover that mechanic all by yourself. So yeah, I mean, I think because it's like a surprise attack, if when you want to attack, you're not, obviously it's perilous, but I don't think you're facing the perilous. You've taken the perilous from behind, which is not facing the perilous, right? So I think you're like sating your hunger, which is like, kind of striking out yourself in this way. So I guess, yeah, the question is like, does this work in with your, many have tested my sword arm and now wait to meet vengeance? Is this like a task of gore or hatred, do you think? This kind of backstabbing sneak attack?
Maybe, yeah. That's not going to bode well for the pack. But
So yeah, let's roll the dice and see.
I get because I rolled the dice before, or is that for the
Yeah, that was just to maybe figure out your instinct.
Figure out my
this is
instinct.
the actual move
Yeah.
to sate your
Okay.
hunger.
So it's 2 wolf, or I could make it 1 blood if I wanted.
Yeah. So have a look at the move and see what jumps out at you as being.
So sorry, which move am I doing?
Sorry, this is to sate a hunger or bend a
Oh,
wolf.
to say a hunger or bent. Yeah, okay. So I can say 2 wolf, choose 2 from the wolf.
And sorry, you have 1 feral as well, right?
Oh, I got 1 feral
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
So that's
So it's-
three wolf.
So
Right?
it's
Doesn't make a
3
difference.
wolf, or it's so it'd be 0 otherwise.
Yeah. So it's 3 wolf or 1 wolf or 1 blood. So
probably go for the 3 wolf then, I would think.
okay, cool.
So I choose 2 from the wolf list. So tell us how you embrace your wild nature. And I'll put in power. So I think I guess I'll pick like none of put in peril because that was kind of the intent. So that feels like that's what I'm trying to, so that makes that sort of follows. And I'm going to say, I think this is like embrace your wild nature as well, because it was a moment of decision, like kind of, it was in the balance, is he feral or human, right? And it's gone feral. So it's like he's doubled down on that, really like tasted the flesh and like got into the hunt and the fight with the mammoth and everything. And it's like, it's gonna gain him another feral.
Okay. Yeah. So, so that means others must go without, and the pack doesn't kind of get what they seek, but none are put in peril. So I think what kind of happens is, this sudden strike from behind further enrages the mammoth, and between the 2 of you hanging out of it, it just kind of shakes you loose and drives through a copse of trees, and then just disappears from your sight. Basically, it doesn't want any more of this right now, at least.
Yeah.
So it's not threatening your life anymore. But I think the kind of downside to those other 2 choices that weren't taken is that the heron has obviously seen this ruckus and is now circling overhead like a drone on station, just kind of circling overhead, hundreds of meters in the air, kind of eyeing you and the kind of trail of destruction that's sweeping through your position. And I think you feel like an extra tug, an extra strong tug from the sorcerer's influence upon you. And it's very close. The sorcerer is very close and ready to claim you as their prize. So Ulrich, yeah, what do you do when you hear all of this commotion and then feel that tug?
I think feeling that tug and feeling that tiredness and that exhaustion, I think he makes a pleading howl, but I think the way the magic tinges it, it's not just a howl to wolves. It's a howl to all that are sort of, under the grasp of this tyrant. And it's a call to the other animals that life does not have to be this way. That you are beholden now to this man's will without your own thought or your own nature's mind or presence there. And come join us to sort of stop this tyranny and live as nature truly intends you to do, with freedom.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Do you think the other Stefan and Zura join in to
Oh, yeah.
that?
100%.
Maybe not like, or maybe adding to the kind of sorcery, the wolf sorcery of this. So I think, I mean, this is like a different kind of approach to kind of to bring the other creatures in the menagerie across to your side. Do you think this is bending the world to your will, or do you think this is perilous as well?
I think this is bending the world to your will.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get the world to come in to then face the peril.
Okay. So now I guess because the pack is joining in, right? Maybe there's a kind of greater force using this. Oh, there he is. There's my dog.
Pack joins. The pack joins.
It's like I've heard my cue. For this move, usually it's the wolf with the highest feral who rolls. So I guess it's Ulrich's magic, but maybe it's more now that the pack is joining in, right? How does that sound?
That's fine.
Okay.
I will roll then. That is 11 wolf and 1 blood, so
Wow.
10 wolf.
So you get to choose 3 from the wolf list.
I think we're gonna go with all of them, but no one else must go without, I guess. Ulrich, do you want to say how it works, how we get what we want?
Sure. So I think this hunger is sort of gets what they seek, and stated as all these creatures sort of suddenly appear. And it's strange because like there certainly should not be a damn tiger in this forest, but there's a tiger. There's tigers and bears, oh my, but then there's fawn, and there's like resplendent peacocks and just creatures of all level of just exotic beauty, but also that tend to signify power and strength and qualities that are very beholden and very near and dear towards different religions and cultures, all sort of spring forth. But there's this odd intelligence to most of their eyes. And it's clear that all of them are like us. They are all people that have been trapped in these forms for whatever specific reason by this tyrannical sorcerer. And they are here to aid us, not only just to aid us, but to join us as they wish to be free themselves, but also to protect others. The call of pack somehow uniting amongst us all, despite being from disparate breeds and cultures, and maybe even times, depending on what true powers this tyrannical sorcerer has.
Well, yeah, great. Gareth, do you want to like take a one of these creatures and maybe give it a sense of what it says to you, or what its attitude or history is? Just fill in a little bit of the world here.
Sorry, can you clarify that?
Sorry, so I guess like create a creature, maybe one of the list that Kay just gave us.
Oh, one of it. Okay.
And like tell us what it's like and kind of how it approaches you.
Awesome. So I immediately just kind of thought of a bird of prey of some kind. So some kind of like a hawk, something like that. And so how do you mean how it approaches?
You know, when Ulrich's and all of your magic kind of maybe snaps the connection between the hawk and the sorcerer, you know, how does it kind of arrive at your position? Like, what does it say to you, or how does it communicate with you that it's on your side?
Oh, sure. Right. Okay, cool. So I think it just cries out, you know, it's just it lets out like a sort of shriek of like an eagle, basically, and you see this eagle's like circling above, and you know from its call that it's with the pack, that it's heard the message.
Cool. Mark, how about you? Do you want to add some color to one of these animals?
Yeah, I think there's actually a white lion that has come out of the woods and kind of like shaking its mane out. And it's bigger than me just a little bit. And there's a definitely like a unspoken communication of like we were once hunter trappers outdoorsmen in human life. Now we've been transformed into this new thing, but we still retain like the core of what we were, even though we're not able to communicate it verbally.
Cool. Okay, I wonder if like maybe there's one of these animals, maybe the first or the last to arrive, who is kind of magical or sorcerous in some way, like you are.
Of course. Ooh. I think there is a. Ooh, I'm gonna be really nasty with this. There's an ostrich, and it is so very large, much larger than it should be, even though ostriches are very large. And it's strange because it is a creature that is fast. It's one of the fastest creatures on this earth, yet it sort of almost languidly comes here, and there's a wiseness in its eyes, as if it knew this day would come and wanted to take it in all of its grandeur, the exact, despite how strange it is, especially on an ostrich, the exact same blue that Ulrich's eyes are, that this wolf's eyes are, that his eyes embody in his human form. And there's this connection there as this creature came in last, despite being so swift, because it knew that this was going to happen. It knew it had been biding its time for this day. It precognition allowed it to come, and it wanted the full picture of nature's might in its eyes.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so I think we should trigger the end game right now. So I think you have two choices to lift the spell. It's lift the spell when the whole pack has escaped, or the tyrant is slain. So I don't know what you want to try to do.
Do we want to like storm the castle with the whole zoo?
I feel like we should probably kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's cool that like all of the other creatures have turned against him, and it's like gets like kind of overthrown. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I think like we kind of cut to you all, you know, at the gates. I don't know how we describe the sorcerer as getting closer, right? But maybe there's some kind of like slowly moving tower, right? Like on
Its tower moves.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's got legs, mechanical legs, or whether it's like something built on a giant tortoise or something. I don't know. we see like the entire menagerie no longer, like free creatures assemble outside of the tower. And maybe as the sorcerer, starts to tug on these strings of control, realizing that they've been broken by.
There's just like too many to keep track of at once, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That now when he wants to kind of exert some kind of painful control over the creatures, like the realization now is that they've lost all control or any control. So yeah, this seems like it is facing the perilous. Who wants to roll? I guess the wolf who is most vulnerable, or anyone who is willing and able to confront the peril in their stead must roll.
I want Stefan to roll, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
go for it.
Stefan is our warrior.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so 1 blood, but I got to add my feral, so that will be 1 wolf then, won't it?
And then you can, if you wish, I think add
Add 3
blood.
So let's have a look at the.
Should be 2 blood, right?
So is it? Sorry, I lost track now.
So
It should be 1 wolf, or it could be 2 blood.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
So what 1 wolf is
Not great.
Probably no fun at all. 2 blood is slightly better.
Yeah, so we'll have to go with 2 blood.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we can
So the options are: tell us how you vanquish the pearl.
Yeah.
You do not have to suffer harm. Winter may not separate another wolf from the pack and inflict Winter's wrath on them. Or Winter may not teach you a harsh lesson, giving you 1 feral.
So we vanquish a peril, but it's going to take a toll.
It's going
right?
to cost.
That works fine. Yeah.
So tell us how you vanquish the pearl.
But incorporating the other elements, like the harm and the.
Okay.
Is that right? Or how?
Yeah. So you're going to suffer harm, right? So and you can pick whichever of those 3 options you want to.
Like, is it my job to tell how we vanquish the peril and also incorporate those other things as negatives that happen as well, or is that? It seems like quite a large job to take on all by myself. I feel like we should all tell how we defeat the peril somehow.
So maybe
like
you can lead.
Yeah,
maybe you can lead, and then we can get some extras from Zura and Ulrich.
Okay, awesome. So I'm trying to picture it now. Like we're outside the castle. We need to storm the castle. And we've got, what have we got on us? What animals are here then? We're trying to get a picture of this in my head. So we've got the eagle, right? And then so what were the other things we've accumulated?
You've got the sorcerous ostrich.
The mega
and you have
ostrich.
the white lion.
Yeah, and the white lion, that's it, yeah. So I think like maybe the eagle is like dealing with the battlements and the things that are up there, right? Like any forces that could like prevent us from reaching the castle. And the giant ostrich is going to clearly break us into this castle. You can just see it like battering down the door, right? Like
they've got a mean kick, right?
That's it, yeah. So that's it, yeah. And it's like you said, the sorcerer I think has overreached himself. It's like he can't control everything. It's like his hubris will be his or her undoing. And so yeah, we gain entry into the inner sanctum. Do you think there are maybe there are some other animals in here that are like Slender's control?
Yeah, or maybe
does everyone-
some non-animal automatons. Right?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
perhaps he's used some of the magic to sort of animate certain elemental based sort of golems. And that is in fact how this tower moves. It's actually carried by like
Yeah, that's
several
cool.
large rotund earthen golems.
Yeah, I like it. So I think the lion is gonna help us out with the sentries so that the pack can make it to confront the what are we calling them? The sorcerer?
The sorcery, yeah. Yeah, so do you want to add any more details or how the fight starts, Zura?
Yeah, I think it's just a mass, like, it's just pandemonium. Animals running throughout the tower everywhere. Yeah, I think like everyone is engaged with something, and we eventually make it through the tumult and kind of surround the sorcerer, the three of us, as well as possible, back them up against the wall.
Love that. I think
Yeah, sorry, and go ahead.
I think the sorcerer like breathes its last breath sheathed on Zura's claws. But as that happens, the sorceress ostrich sort of leans down and with this giant moss somehow delicately okay, side note, if this like X card, feel free to like, I didn't see this on this thing, but just in case it's something that's on this people out, plucks out the eyes of this sorcerer that also had the same vivid blue. And it sort of drops one to Ulrich and swallows the other itself, encouraging like Ulrich to do the same. And although he's shocked in this feral wolf nature, it just makes sense, and their eyes glow an even brighter blue as they did what this sorcerer perhaps intended to eventually maybe do to them, which was pluck out their magic.
Yeah, and maybe the ostrich is missing an eye, right? Already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it had harvested one from it beforehand. Is it weird to say I think the eye? No, you know what? It's cooler with an eye patch.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, the other results of that move are that that Stefan is injured in this fight. Maybe one of those automatons is like dragging him off the sorcerer and hurts Stefan.
I think it got to the winter. Has got to teach a half.
Yeah, I mean, Winter's Wrath is a little bit toothless right now because it's the very end. But yeah, I think there's kind of a longer term effect. But I think the other thing, right, is that this fight really takes Stefan to a much higher level in that wolfiness, right? So he's gonna.
I can kind of
add one to
imagine a
feral.
kind of thing where it's like the sorcerer will make like some desperate appeal to Stefan's humanity and try to corrupt him. You know what I mean? But something about it, I don't know, I can't quite connect it with the harsh lesson, but that's kind of going to ultimately result in one feral. Like, I don't know. I don't know if we have time to make the scene that long. It just feels like something like that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the flip side, right, is that when the sorcerer appeals to this side of Stefan, like he just sees a blank wolf stare. Like there's nothing human in Stefan right now. So he's gone kind of full on wolf during this fight. Okay. So yeah, and I think right the death of the sorcerer, or at least the immediate kind of taking of their powers, results in all those automatons just kind of collapsing, and those all of those sorcerer's forces are just gone, and the whole place starts in that kind of magic finale way, the place starts to crumble around you, right? As the sorcerer's life force and magical force fades. Okay, so the last move of the game. I think we have agreed that the spell has been fulfilled. So there's one roll left to make for everyone, and this is kind of your ending. So you're going to be for the spell, the curse. It says add 1 to your blood die for every other beast in the menagerie you convince to join you. So I guess we have a lot, right? But I think we have like 3 main animals identified as helping you out. So we can say +3 on this one, on blood die. And then you are adding whatever your current feral score is. And so this is like a one roll to resolve, whether you remain a wolf or return to your true form. So I guess we roll this, and then maybe we'll get an epilogue from everyone to say how they remain in the world afterwards. So who wants to go first? I guess we could stick with our usual order and go with Ulrich first.
Okay. Let's roll. So I've got 4 blood, 2 feral. So that would be 2 blood plus 3 blood, or theoretically maybe even 6 blood. So I'd say I get the 2+ blood ending.
Yep, you do. So that is, you return to your original form in waking life, but run with the pack in your dreams.
Oh, I love that. That seems very fitting for him.
So will we resolve the roll for everyone and then do the epilogue so we kind of know what the kind of state of us all is? Okay, cool. So yeah, Gareth, how about Stefan? Do you want to roll? So you'll be adding 3 feral and 3 blood.
And 3 blood, so they cancel out really.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 blood.
Okay.
So I am also able to become human again.
Yeah.
I'm most worried about 0, to be honest.
Yeah, now we're getting it. Zura's 6 feral, or was it 7?
6, I think. Let's see what we get. That is 10 wolf, 4 blood. That's a solid 6 wolf.
The dice know there's no working against 6 feral.
I am 100% wolf all the way.
Yeah, so you are a wolf. 4+ is you are a wolf in spirit and form forevermore.
Yeah.
So I think we should maybe start with that as our epilogue for Zura. And so this can be like immediately afterwards, or the next winter, or however you want to set this epilogue.
Yeah, I actually kind of like jumping forward. There's something like it's like the end of the hunting season or whatever, and this is when Zora would normally return to town with furs and whatnot. And I think she, as a wolf, kind of feels a pull towards it, and sort of pauses, within a respectful distance of the town, and just turns away and runs back into the woods.
I mean, is there a howl, or? Yeah,
definitely a howl.
Cool. And then maybe Stefan, let's see you return to your normal life.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be changed by that experience, right? Like I feel like he leaves his old life behind. He's changed. And I think also like maybe I kind of imagine him like leaving the city, like leaving his past behind, trying to like begin again somewhere else where no one knows who he is. And so I kind of imagine like a scene where it looks like he started this new life and he's happy and everything's fine and he's left his past behind. But then kind of somebody catches up with him from his past and like takes him out, you know, like he can't leave his past behind. So he's got a few years of kind of happiness, but then someone takes him out.
Harsh, very harsh, but maybe fair. I don't know.
But fair, I feel like that's more than he deserved. So he got a kind of redemption, but not quite. Like, yeah.
And lastly, how about Ulrich?
So I think Ulrich is definitely forever changed by this experience. I think they no longer wish to put a bridle on their magic and keep it locked away. They want to let it be free. And I think there's this argument with their parents that leads to the burning down of the fur shop with magic. And there's this knowing look that he can't go back to civilization like this. And I think he goes back into the woods. And Mark, let me know if this is not okay or not. And I think he meets up with the wolf Zura. And I think he builds a natural-based shelter. And it becomes a sort of respite for magically inclined, weary travelers who come through, those that are connected with nature, but also those, because I imagine this happened for a lot of the animals there in that forest. Some did choose to stay animals, some humans, all in varying form. And it sort of becomes a waypoint. I think he tends to the forest, and actually the townsfolk begin to wonder, they can't enter this forest with malintent. No trappers have ever gone in. They're never harmed, but for some reason they just can't get in. But yet they say that those who don't have malcontent come out speaking of the strangest animals that shouldn't be here and don't make sense and are colored strangely, but are so friendly. And it raises questions of habitation and animals and treatment of said other beings with some level of sentience.
Nice. I think that's a perfect bow to tie up the story with. Yeah, so I think we stop recording and then do a quick debrief. So thanks for watching.